right, it's ready. We're good. I see it, Paul. I'm recording at least.
So
yeah, mine's red. My red dot's on. I'm good.
We are live now. We are live. Well, after a little technical difficulty there, we are with a special episode of Footballers this week. We have Jake Foot Trading as our guest, and also with me we've got Wise FIFA. Now then, boys, how we doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me today, guys.
No, I'm excited about this. I've seen you about for years, Jake, making coins. You know, you're one of the guys that I used to see and think, man, these guys are making coins, and it got me excited. So this is it's cool to have you on. Wise, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah, no, always great to talk to someone that's a fellow like-minded trader in our space that has walked the walk as well as talks the talk. Absolutely, anytime you see a little either Twitter feed or something come across, you're like, oh yeah, all right, let's see what this guy's talking about. So it's great to have him here.
And not only that, but we have two Americans, so we're kind of overpowering this time. That's a pretty good win.
That's a big win. We could say soccer without having any fear of reaction. So there you go.
This could turn into like a baseball podcast or anything at this stage.
Okay, no.
Oh, Jake, these guys before you came in were talking baseball, and I were like, this is like,
hey, it's
nobody
okay.
even knows what that is. It's like me talking about cricket right now. So we'll start off, Jake. I think a lot of people will know who you are, but can you give us a little bit of how you got into this?
Yeah, so I'm Jake Foot Trading. I go by those handles. I've been on all socials. I've been on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I've kind of experimented around over the years. I really found that Twitter is one of my favorite platforms. I just feel like it can show some personality on that end. Instagram, I was doing that for a while, where I kind of started to do that with like their story systems, and then Instagram kind of turned into TikTok 2.0, which is too young for me, a little too modern. So I ditched it when that happened. But yeah, I was able to grow to like 100K Instagram followers in a year or year and a half maybe. I kind of caught the boom of that. And I enjoyed that for a while, but then it started to be like everybody posting the same content, and you weren't following up on your post. It was hard to be pretty personable there. It was a lot of just pictures and graphics, and that's cool too, but it just wasn't for me. For me, I kind of like to use my communities to hang out in, and Twitter allows me to do that. So that was where I originally started, and I just started to follow Foot Twitter account specifically for trading. I thought the trading aspect and making coins component of Foot has always been super engaging to me and really fun. It's a little bit like less risky of a way to get into like kind of stocks and market and just supply and demand awareness and things like that, but without high risk variables. So I started to follow some people and engage with them. I talked to like Matt Foot Trading back in the day a lot, run the Foot Market, Foot Economist Jamie before he started working at EA. So I really enjoyed watching them, and over time I kind of started to post my own ideas on Twitter, and my people just love information that is helpful to them. So I started to post tips, and they oftentimes came into fruition, and people were like, oh, dang, he knows what he's talking about. So I started to gain a following that way without really much intention to. I was kind of just trying to join the community. Over time, my following continued to grow, and posting tips was really hard on a very large platform. That's kind of where you get in trouble. It would be like Run the Foot Market or people like that posting a specific investment. Like, you can't do that to 100, 200K people, 50K people. Like, you can't do that. That's a good way to like kind of artificially inflate the market and stuff.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecies at that end. It's like, yeah, if you tell 200,000 people to buy this one card, you're screwed. Yeah, good point. The whole supply and demand metrics.
Yeah, and it becomes very pyramid scheme like, right? Because you put a price, people go over the price. The people that bought first will make the most profit, and you could even sell to each other. It's really silly. So eventually over time, there was someone on Twitter, his name's Cal. He was like, hey man, like, I really like your information. I would actually think about paying you for this. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. And then another person's like, yeah, I would definitely pay you for it. You should do it through Discord. And I didn't even have Discord at the time. I was never much of a PC person. So I'm like, okay, let me try to start a Discord. And my guy Len, he was from Australia. He literally set it all up from scratch for me with no fee. He just wanted to help. And then Cal's like, you should do it on Patreon. I'm like, what's Patreon? So I started to do all this stuff because I was told to do it, which feels super fun and cool for me because it was so organic. I know now in the day of social media, everyone's trying to build a platform to monetize it. And I don't even blame them for that. I don't think there's anything necessarily inherently wrong with that, but I feel really cool to be part of that organic area, growth area, and just being able to do it because I love it. And then people encouraging me and doing well enough where they're like, okay, I'd pay for it. So started at 20 people at like $10 a month. Now we can charge a lot more from that, a lot more than that, and have a lot more people because our service is so valuable. There'd be probably very, very few people who know the market like I do across these 7 years. And I'm kind of known because for the last like 3 or 4 FIFAs, I've made like 10 and 20 million coins from zero in like 2 or 3 weeks, and I can do it every year. So people just see that, they know it's consistent, and they're willing to join and pay for those tips.
And that is valuable in it, Jake. If you and people in your Discord make a small percentage of that, if you turn that into FIFA points, that's a lot of money that you'd have to spend to get that sort of coins. Do you get many pros in your Discord, Jake, who are wanting to trade to make coins to build their team rather than spending absolute fortunes on FIFA points?
Absolutely, yeah. Right now, I think there's 6 to 8 pros in our Discord. Earlier this year, this is just some perspective. I don't know if I should get too much into it. There's kind of like a pretty like underground market for this kind of stuff, but pros see how many coins I can make, and they're like, I'll pay you to trade on my account, and I'll pay you a lot. Because the conversion to FIFA points is honestly significantly better. Like I got offered upwards of $2,000 to do it.
They'd have to put in like 5 to 10 to make them like to make 10 million.
10ish. Yeah, $10,000 plus they'd have to put on, and they do. And
yeah, right. No, absolutely right. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so it's honestly a good trade, but I personally declined it because if I'm making that many coins have a value too, and the coins are valued higher than that. So it doesn't really make much sense, honestly, from like a logical standpoint for me to do that. Yeah. So instead, I just have some in my Discord. Some of them I let in for free too, because I am trying to help them. I feel bad that they have to spend so much to compete. And there's honestly such easy trades to start. Like some of them get the game early, they get the EA access and stuff, and like shadows double within a week. I always tell them that. Like 89s this year was my other big investment. They went from 20 to like 30K already, and that was a guaranteed trade. That was always going to happen. Fodder is just so low to start the year. They didn't have much use, so I had a pro put in 5 million, and that he's gonna come out with 7.5 million. It's that easy.
Yeah.
One trade. Yeah. And it's like I can pretty much guarantee them that they can hit that.
And that's it, innit? It's for those guys, like you say, if they can get the game early and get a little coin total early, investing in those cards early doors is super beneficial. In it, the earlier you can get it, the more coins you're gonna get back. But that's another question I wanted to ask you, Jake. Like running a Discord.
Mm-hmm.
A large one like yours must be difficult to keep. It must be difficult to keep a balance in like enjoying the game, trading, running the Discord. You've got a family now with 3 kids. How do you manage that balance, and how do you still keep it fun so that you're still enjoying the game?
Yeah, well, this is something I'm super thankful about, but over the years, the income has become high enough, especially in the fall and winter season, where I can commit to it full time. So between my social media pages exceeding like 300,000 followers in total, I also get some sponsorship agreements in terms of like what people will pay me to market their products for them. So that helps along with Discord, but it is enough to sustain a full-time income, especially in the prime season. As you guys know, foot kind of declines a lot, I'd say, after January. And it really starts bleeding, of course, into summer. So I pick up extra work during that season. But in the fall, I can commit to it full time. And honestly, to do it really, really, really well, you kind of have to. And there's kind of a lot of like trading Discords out around. And not, a lot of them are kids, that could shout fodder and aren't really like, they're like, buy this card at this price and sell it at this price. And like, I think that's absolutely fine for them to try to do. But I've always been trying to teach people, and I've always done that ever since I started social media, and I still try to do that. Even though I run a paid service, sometimes I post my moves on Twitter and I say, this is exactly why I did this move, and this is a move you can do to replicate it next week. Like, I'm trying to teach people still and tell them what they can do. I do that oftentimes in threads or trades, and I hope people can learn for free, but if they want to accelerate their learning, that's why we have a paid service as well.
I do love those threads that you post on Twitter, because I always retweet them, because it's so simple, and people follow those guidelines that you give people there, and follow that advice. It's just so easy to make coins. But I think for a lot of people who are starting trading new, it seems like, man, this is all my coins, and just become overwhelmed by it. But often those simple things can make so many coins, just repeating that process again and again and again. And it doesn't have to be complicated, does it, to make ridiculous amounts of coins?
Do you want me to give you like an easy example for people listening that are new?
That'd be great.
Sure. Whatever your favorite. If you have a favorite strategy too. I mean, you already touched on a couple, whether it be the chem style or the fodder. So we'd love to hear whatever your favorite or your easy one is that you love.
Right now, because of the EA FC 25 changed the rewards, so like every time we have rivals and squad battles rewards, Mega Pack is like one of the main supplements. And so Mega Packs are going to drop every time you get rewards in mass. So like on Thursday, what time is it UK Rivals rewards
9
comes
a.m.
out? 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Or is it 8 a.m.? One or the other.
Sure. So yeah, UK time to US, I get confused. But anyways, what happens is everybody is so excited to open the rewards, right? They worked hard all week. It's 45 rival points. They kind of slaved away. They were in jail all week playing rivals. And so they're super excited to finally earn their rewards. And so what happens is they open their mega packs, which are like really plentiful at the time. And in mega packs, you get consumables. I'm really taking this super basic, so hopefully this helps anyone new to it. And what happens is people open all these packs and they're not going to check the buy now price of every single card in that pack. They're too lazy. That's what it's been for years. So they'll list like an anchor, for example, at 150, which is just the starting, up to 5,000. And so that's called like open bid. They're leaving it open. So exactly 1 hour after rewards, you're going to start to see thousands of chem styles come up that have open bids at 150. And you can legit win, like 1 hour after rewards, you can win shadows, hunters, anchors, engines at 150 coins and flip them instantly for like 3,000 or 4,000 instantly. So if you just did that every week, you can make 100 or 200K a month, literally a month on that.
And that is just so simple. And like you said, Jake, I think this brings us into sort of some club management stuff. If you are opening your rewards and you are just listing your stuff on open bid, especially at that time in the morning when everybody else is doing exactly the same, you're not getting the best from your packs. Just have 2 minutes, check your prices,
and
get every coin you can, because you've worked hard for those coins. Like you say, you have been in jail all week to get those rewards.
Yeah. And I don't even blame the casuals and the player base for that, though, because consumables are super hard to check their prices of. Like, you'd have to back out of that pack and then go find it. And the only site that I know that actually does have them this year is actually FootWiz. If you want to check quick, they actually like list them all at once for consumables.
Man, FootWiz, what a shout from the past.
Literally, which I don't use, honestly. No offense to FootWiz if you guys like it or go there. I just don't personally use it too much. But they do have consumable prices. But nonetheless, I don't blame the players, right? Because it's kind of tedious to go check all of that. You'd have to almost know off the top of your head. And then you can also like scale that kind of trade, right? So I had someone in Discord we had squad battle rewards, yesterday? He bought like 150 anchors under 3,000 and today sold them for 4. So that's like 150K profit in a day just off a chem style. So you can take that same strategy and you can really scale it too. And the reason that works is because you can stack them all in your club. They do not, they're really overpowered to trade because you can store like 500 chemistry styles in your club. There's like no limitation.
The limit, because otherwise, for the listeners there, like if you're trading players or whatnot, and you don't want to go through the the untradeable list and have that be a mess and
Yeah.
whatnot, or you only have 100 you only have 100 spots on your transfer list, and then that gets tedious if you want to buy thousands of players, which you can do though, but
Yep, absolutely.
the style at least is a little bit straightforward, a little cleaner.
Yeah, so that's just like one super basic thing. I mean, there's tons of examples like that. Like, honestly, I could tell my 4-year-old daughter how to make 1,000,000 coins on foot. Like, I'm very confident in that.
Yeah, and it is just simple things, and it just simple methods. And for a lot of people, it's time. I think people want to have 500k. They want 4 cards to go by and make 60k profit on each of those cards immediately.
Yeah.
And although that does happen, you don't get massive amount of coins on a weekly basis. It's all these little things in it that just keep stacking those coins and stacking those coins.
Absolutely.
For you, Jake, what is your go-to method at the beginning of the game? Like early doors. A lot of people really struggle with this, and I know we're a long way from the start of a new game again. But I imagine those methods still work, whether it's solution trading or, like you say, mass bidding on stuff. What's your method? Because you get big coins real quick.
Yeah, solution trading I won't get into because I honestly I can give a small overview, but I think it's super advanced potentially for listeners too, to do it really well. But kind of the theory between FUTBIN and solution trading is like everyone starts the year with their advanced SBCs, and they're really advanced. Like you're not just going to go complete them off your own knowledge. You're going to use FUTBIN or something to help you because you need like 31 chemistry, 11 leagues. Like people just don't know that stuff off the top of their head. They're not building it from scratch, and I don't either. So they go on FUTBIN. FUTBIN lists a solution as like the cheapest, and everyone clicks on it and goes to buy every single player on that solution, and then they go complete it. And because everyone does that at the same time in mass, it can skyrocket players' prices to like 5,000 coins. And I start to kind of memorize what cards are going to fluctuate like that, and I get them when they're like 400 coins, and I sell them when they're like 3 to 5k again. I'm just pretty good at using some tools to figure that out. And then once my coining total is big, so honestly, that's what allows me to get there fastest pretty much every year, is I'm really kind of perfected that method. There's a lot of like strategies I could talk about to advance that, but once you have a lot of coins, then it's honestly just about finding a few good all-ins. So like my first big all-in that will make more sense to probably most listeners was like Inform Adeyemi. I have a few pros in my Discord and a few pro friends that said that Quick Step Plus is like broken for the speed boost mechanic. And if you guys look at who has Quick Step Plus, it's like literally Nazario R9, Vinny's Inform, Mbappe. So it's like the top cards in the game, and then there's like Adeyemi and Diaby. And I'm like, okay, this Inform Adeyemi is going to go from 100k to 150k. And I said that very outspokenly with high confidence. So I put pretty much most of my coins in him at the time, and he did that. He went from 100k to 150k with the awareness that Quick Step Plus was broken and that he was off the market and people would continue to buy him.
How much does having pros in your Discord or knowing pros, in the community, benefit your trading in regards to that? Because that is a little gem that you've taken there and thought, this is the guy. This is the guy. He's out of packs now. Still relatively cheap. People are building the coin, so people's next upgrades are going to be sort of in that 100k plus mark. Do you see
absolutely.
that quite often where a pro will say something to you and you're like, oh, that's a move?
Absolutely, it helps a lot. I don't catch them all. So like the other one that I think got really notoriously popular this year is like the long ball plus passing with like Patry, whatever her last name is, the Barcelona mid.
Yeah.
I don't want to mispronunciate it either. Don't butcher
below
me.
Vieira is out.
Yeah. Don't butcher me. Yeah, but
No.
And the pros love her, and it makes the like long balls insanely accurate. So she's by far like honestly still one of the most popular players in the game. I didn't catch on to that one as fast as I would have liked to, But that's just an example of how you can still learn how gameplay mechanics change things, right? Like, I didn't do that one, but I saw it and acknowledged why it happened. And that's kind of what I tell people in Discord, on Twitter. Like, if you really do want to learn how to trade, just start to intake. You do not even have to make a ton of coins to start. Start thinking of like what cards are going up and why, and working from there, you know?
Jake, are you more what's your kind of like time period for the cards you like to hold? Are you, or I mean, again, I know you might do a multitude of methods, but are you someone that likes to flip over, a 48-hour period, a week? What is your usual what's your usual price, your preference?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think most good traders would probably tell you that they could make coins at any time, and I would feel pretty confident doing that, like icon and hero trading. But for me, with Discord and having a family, if I see an opportunity that can make me like 50% to 75% gains on it, like that Adeyemi going from 100 to 150K, I do like to sit on things right now because my budget's getting big and because you don't have to do much, right? Like, I just sat there and watched him climb every single day. So if I see really good opportunities like that, then I'll take a couple all-ins. But like lately over the weekend, I was just trading overnight. I noticed that informs are super supplied from Weekend League, so I posted on my page a few times, but I've been flipping like inform Lautaro Martinez because he's super in demand from Serie A links. I literally flipped him on day one from like 125 to 140, and I bought a ton of them. And then I did it the next day from 140 to 155. And then I did it today from like 150 to 170. And it was like 1 million coins profit on him over 3 days. And I just kept upscaling and realizing, hey, this guy is going to keep having more demand than supply every day. And a lot of people get scared because they would think of that card as being 125K 3 days ago and stop buying him. But I'm like, this guy, I literally laugh. I told my Discord, I'm like, I know they're super inflated, but I'm going to keep buying them and keep selling them higher because there's more demand.
Yeah. And we saw that demand yesterday, didn't we? Like, that demand for Serie A cards, French cards just went through the roof. Like, I've not had a lot of time. I've played Weekend League, had not much time to trade, so I've just been buying Lautaros, few Dembeles, and
that's great.
They've just gone. And I think there is sort of, if you don't have loads of time, these sort of key times through the week, and like you mentioned, rivals there. Do you think we're going to get into a routine with regards to that this year, Jake? In certain days are you going to be your buy days, certain days are going to be, we're going to have, after Weekend League rewards, you're going to have another influx of coins. Do you think we're going to have a routine that we'll be able to buy on this day, sell that day? Because a lot of our people in our Discord listen to the podcast are like, I want to buy a team, but I don't want to lose coins on it.
Yeah, I think kind of one of the best like team buying days, just to start there, is like going to be Friday morning. I think a lot of people are going to spend on their team a ton on right after Rivals on Thursday, and it's going to not leave much demand like once people start playing Weekend League on Friday. So like if you guys saw the market on Friday morning and afternoon, it crashed really hard on that high meta stuff because everyone bought their teams right after rewards. So they're like, once there's supply after that, there's not much demand for a little bit. And then if you can, like, I know it's kind of tedious, especially for you UK guys, but like overnight hours from like 1 to 5 a.m. UK, any day on the weekend, you're going to be okay to buy and sell in the morning. Like, you'd either have to play your games or you could also do it to profit, of course. But what happens during Weekend League is supply continues to come in from rewards overnight, and there's a lack of buyers overnight because UK people are sleeping or European people are. And when they wake up, they rise. It like is really consistently the case.
Yeah, no, we as the North Americans have absolutely been able to take advantage of that. It feels like any time from I'm in the central time zone of America. I know we have like.
Where are you at, Wise?
I'm in Chicago. So
okay,
right
nice.
Right
Minnesota, right here. Nice.
Oh, there you go. I heard a little bit of the accent there.
It's almost like that. I
wasn't going to get it confused with Wisconsin. Don't get me wrong.
Here's me thinking: is that 25 miles away, or is that hundreds of miles away?
Yeah, hundreds of miles. But
yeah, I know. U.S. is big.
Right. Yeah. But to that point of like our evenings have, you could buy a team. at 8 to like you could buy at 8, play till midnight, list them up overnight, and to what Jake says, when the UK wakes
Yep.
up, which is
Yep.
like 6 a.m. our time, you're gonna have your players are gonna be selling for at least, it depends how good they are, but they're gonna be selling at a percentage higher that hopefully
Yeah.
should yield you some profit.
Yep, it's a really easy, simple way to go about it. But unfortunately, like the ironic thing is why it works is because most of you guys are sleeping. Like it's the theory of why it works is because of what you're doing. Like people are like, I can't do that because I'm asleep. I'm like, well, I know.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. Like a lot of people, a lot of sort of casual players would love to be able to buy a team and not lose coins on it.
Yes,
even
for sure.
make coins. So there's like the perfect opportunity. If you're awake at those times in a weekend, like early hours Saturday morning, buy your team, use it, and sell it. And I always say this: like, if you don't want to lose coins, buy your players, play your games, and then sell your players. Like, I rarely keep cards to play with just because I'm terrified of losing coins. So I try and get a good deal on some cards, play them a little batch of games, knowing that they're going to rise into that period and sell it, because people do lose ridiculous amounts of coins on little, just little bits of tax, and they might have paid 20, 30k a little bit, maybe too much for that card.
And it still happened. It still happened organically this year, but I actually see that EA was aware of that. So just like for a small reference, these are things like I keep track of, and like I often really think of how EA think, right? So last year during the first promo, they actually had promo packs, lightning rounds. I'm talking that first weekend, like in Team 1 of Road to the Knockouts, and the gold market got absolutely. I'm telling you, like it got murdered. Like 100k cards went to like 40k in one day. Because they should not do that early. It ruins the market, because what happens is Ultimate Team Edition players, like that got the Ultimate Edition, they already bought their team, right? So like once a huge wave of supply comes in like that, like 100,000 lightning rounds, there's just not enough demand for that. Like, and I know for a fact, because of what they did, they realized that they didn't do promo lightning rounds either of these weekends for the first time. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that or track those things, but that was a really smart decision for them, because people get really deterred when they lose a lot of coins on their team. Like, it's really defeating, right? Like, if you play weekend league, make 200k and lose 200k on your team, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, break even. And I cried a couple times playing weekend league.
And people don't want to be deterred from this game. We were just talking about on the other podcast, like making champs difficult to qualify for. I've got a few friends who've not been able to qualify. They didn't play most of last year. They've just got back into this game thinking, I'll give it a try. They've not qualified for weekend league, and they've put it down. What are your thoughts on that, Jake, on why EA are making it difficult for your sort of average player to get into weekend league?
Paul, is the friend in the room with us right now as we speak?
Yes. No, it's not me. No, do you know what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just
you know
kidding.
What? This was really strange, because my first 3 games in quali were my easiest games of the year so far, because I'd done okay last year. I got into Division 5, which would have bloodbath for me. I didn't win a game for 2 days.
Sure.
So my easiest games were in quali. I was like, don't see what the problem is. Why is everybody complaining? This is easy. But then I think I just got lucky, because it doesn't seem to be that easy for most people, and I'm terrible at the game.
Yeah, I know people love to rip on EA, and I actually give them what they deserve. Like, I'm actually someone who try to be pretty neutral. I still like playing foot. I always will. And that is something that does bother me, and I know sometimes people have the best intention, but it's like, if people really hate the game, my suggestion is to stop playing it. And I know that people don't like to hear that, but this is a hobby. This is for fun. Like, if I could not enjoy it to any extent, then it's not for me. And I know it's addictive and stuff like that, but you have to make a executive decision sometimes, like, this is bad for my mental health. But I like foot, and what the enjoyment that I get of foot isn't only the market. I like to try to score skill goals or banger goals or try a new player, and I still do enjoy that to this day. And for me, what foot has always been about, and this is personal to me, has been starting from nothing and getting a really cool team by the end. And I will always like that process. I think that there's no other game mode doing it as well as FIFA is, or whatever FC is. And I've tried other sports games, and there's none as good as this one.
No, not even close. Like, this is the elite of. This is the Jordan of football, of sports games.
And back to your question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pass it over. In terms of why are they making it difficult? One thing I did do, like I think just yesterday I tweeted, but I'm like, this is the best rewards we've seen in foot in 5 years. Like, the Weekend League rewards are insanity. The Rivals rewards require you to play a ton of games, sure, but they're amazing rewards. The Squad Battle rewards have more people playing Squad Battles than ever. And I don't think EA intend for you to do all of them. People feel so much pressure of FOMO. They're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to play for 45 rival points, qualify for Weekend League, and do my Elite 1 Squad Battles? I'm like, no one says you have to.
Yeah. You need to take a week off work to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, just choose one you want. If you want to play AI and be more chill, do Squad Battles. If you want more competition, do Weekend League. If you want to play people of your skill, do Rivals. You know, like, and now we have Rush. Like, there are some gameplay components that are an issue, of course, but I like this edition of Foot compared to previous years. I think it's a really good base model. I know they need to update some things, but I really do think it's the most improved Foot in recent years.
Oh, interesting take. We were just talking on the other pod saying that the negativity at the minute is through the roof. And I think a lot of that is because of understanding as well. Like the new FCIQ, and it's difficult for people. It's difficult for me to get my head around a lot of it.
Me too, actually. I agree with that.
It's tough, but Wise, who usually is the voice of reason, says, we're 9 days in.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, we are 9 days in. Like, surely this is the part where it's super fun. But I'm not seeing, like, when I finish Weekend League this weekend, I'm usually the positive one in this Discord, in this in this podcast. I'm usually like, oh yeah, but it's okay this, it's okay that. I just love playing the game. But yesterday I was just ready for that Weekend League to be over.
Yeah,
I just couldn't find, and maybe that's on me not finding the right tactic or whatever, but I just couldn't find the fun in it. Which we say it every week. If you don't enjoy this game, why are you here? Why are you playing it still? Like, turn it off. But I feel like there needs to be some changes soon to appease the masses, maybe. But sorry, Jake, going back to your other point about Weekend League rewards, like, you don't have to play Rivals. If you can get a good rank in Weekend League, that's probably better rewards than last year's Rivals and Champs. I can't remember a decent pull from Champs or Rivals last year for 9 months. And this year, if you get 10 wins, you're almost guaranteed something decent or a good chunk of coins.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think with you, what you're saying, Paul, makes sense. I mean, you're playing the most competitive mode. I don't know if Weekend League is honestly going to be fun for that many people because the intensity is super high. I really just think that Weekend League is notoriously not that enjoyable for people. I believe that because they're playing for rewards rather than for fun, for sure. and you might be for that too, but I think I definitely think that's the most intense game mode. And the rewards make it that way, right? Like, there's only 15 games. Like, I'm partnered with like a Weekend League service. Those have become more popular over the years that will play Weekend League on your account, and they're getting more orders than ever because of the rewards being so good. And there's only 15 games for Weekend League, right? And rank 1 is you need 15 wins. Do you know how intense that is? And this team has like pros that used to go like 60-0 in a weekend on it, and they're not getting 15 wins every time. That's how competitive it is. These are pro players that are losing. And one of the services I know did 100+ orders. You're probably playing some pros in there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not joking.
They are not all.
I hope you know they're not playing for fun at all.
Yeah.
They're gonna abuse kickoff glitches, skill moves, long shot. Like, they are playing to only win.
Yeah, and
getting paid to do so.
Like I was saying, a lot of people who used to play a Weekend League have not been able to qualify. Mm-hmm. So that's even sort of made the player pool even smaller of, people who've qualified for this first weekend league. So anyway, I'm going into next weekend now after my 500 rivals games this week. We're going in with a new team. I'm going to find a tactic this week that works.
For sure.
And we're going to go in there and get 8 wins, shall we say.
There you go, Paul. There you go.
And you're going to do it with a smile on your face. That's the hardest feat.
Yes, that is it, yeah. If I'm not smiling, I'm not playing.
Good. But I think that lends a great question of, like, Jake, in your Discord or just amongst your, council of traders, are you guys thinking about any different, demand shifts going forward of people, like, maybe taking the weekend off and, seeing that, okay, well, how that changes about buying and selling players, or if more people decide to be, rivals focused, is that shifting any of your, trading tactics moving forward over the next few
Yeah,
weeks?
absolutely. I think honestly one of the biggest things, again, I'm trying to speak to the simple strategies today. I think I could get into some very advanced stuff, but like over the weekend, one of the pack supply coming in is team of the week. So I actually have Footbin up right here, which I always do, or Foot GG. One of you guys can sponsor me if you want. And
Anime.
Same to us.
yeah, sponsor the whole podcast. Get it together, guys.
Why aren't they sponsoring Jake? Let's just throw that out there. Foot GG.
Oh no, don't. I've talked to them. You don't have to worry. There's reasons. So some of those big sites work with EA to keep good relationships because they're pulling their code, and EA doesn't like coin sponsors and some of the other stuff I do and trading. Anyways, but long story. But anyways, yeah. So like Inform Lataro, for example, a few days ago. This is before Turum, so it's a little bit less relevant. But he got down to 120K. He's 175K right now. That card was too cheap at 120K, right? Because his gold was already like 50, 60K before that. Inform Wrighton, she was 30K. She's 37K now. Really good Chelsea card, can play cam, left mid, left wing. And then lastly, the card that is like one of the most popular in the whole game is Inform Van de Ven. That card got down to like 150K. Over the weekend, because weekend league supplies coming in super hot and super consistently the entire weekend. So his low point was 150K. He's currently 175. My whole point with saying this is their supply for Inform super, super, super heavily. So likely on Friday or Saturday, you're going to get some low points of team of the week every week, and they're going to be just too cheap. It's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a really easy basis of there's a ton of supply coming in at once. Cards get too low. Supply is going to get cut off eventually, which we're seeing today. It's Monday, and they're going to rise. And they're all up. Literally, they're all up like 10 to 20%.
These are cards that people want to play with. Like, so if you want to, on a weekend, you want to go buy a card that you want to use for the rest of the week, grab one of those Informs. And I do a lot of that now, I think, sort of killing two birds with one stone. Buying some cards that I think will rise this week and using those cards in my team. Just grabbing them off the transfer list when I want to play a few games. And it's just steady coins. If you're not that bothered about trading, you can buy a couple of those every week, can't you? And just sort of use those in your team, sell them when they've gone up. And do you think that goes on for another few weeks, another few months, Jake, that sort of Inform? Do you think it slows down when we get some more promo cards?
I think kind of like the biggest caveat with that is like how low will people let it go, because people didn't know exactly the trends. This is a little bit different reward, so even for an experienced person like myself who would try to guess the low and time them and did so fairly well, I learned a lot this week. And if you're actually like trying to learn the trends, people learned, right? So I was like, okay, I see how much, like for me, I can tell you guys for sure with only 15 games, like here's another fact that I learned this weekend. I would say probably 80% of people finished their games by Saturday this week. I could tell supply was significantly lessened on Sunday compared to previous years. So that aligns with when to purchase them, right? Like I just told you, both Friday and Saturday will be the low, most likely on Saturday. I think that people are done on Saturday for the most part. So Sunday, those cards started rising because I think people are already done. Like I think the supply is steadily decreasing on Sunday. Yeah. So you with trading, you always intake a lot. You always try to learn. sometimes if I'm not overly confident, I don't do anything. And I know that's like a funny thing to preach, but I just watch and I'm like, oh, all right. I learned that about Weekend League this weekend by watching, and now I know exactly what to do next weekend.
Yeah, no, I think that Paul's had a great mantra on our first little trading podcast that we did last Tuesday. Paul, you want to reiterate it is what the best trade is?
Sometimes the best trade is no trade. Just keep
Yeah.
holding
yeah.
your coins.
Yeah.
Just keep hold of those coins. Don't because especially early on in the game, so many people are just chasing that profit, wanting to get the
Yeah.
coins up. But sometimes it's just not the time for those sort of big purchases. That, you know.
Right, and that is something that people know this in my Discord. I kind of tease about it, but it's actually like a little bit like of a triggering thing. Is when people are like, "What should I invest in right now?" I'm like, I don't know what's going to go up in an hour. Like, it doesn't work like that. It works as, hey guys, we're gonna take a really, really big outlook across the week and make super calculated investments, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but they're gonna be good ones. But until then, there's always ways to like turn over your coins and just make small profits just by bidding or sniping cards, or like there's ways to trade like very instantly to build up your coins, and then there's investments to make. And I always tell people it should go trade, little trades, and then make a big investment when you think it's worthy of one.
Yeah. And I think that's something we push in our Discord as well, like just chem style trading, sort of mass bidding on common golds. We've had these road to the knockout challenges coming thick and fast, haven't we? And upgrades early on, so commons have sort of kept the price. Something I've noticed, Jake, and I don't know what your thoughts on this are, the new average price that's on a lot of these cards. I had a little bit of a mess about the other day when I was mass bidding, and I was trying to pick the ones that were over, that average was sort of over 700, and just bidding on those ones, just messed about for half an hour or 20 minutes, whatever it was, and it was quite successful. I had no idea, like, I'd just gone, the fillet were just common golds, 400 coins, and I was just going through the list looking at ones that had a high average price, but I don't know how well that's worked, the average price for the cards. Have you noticed if it's been working well or not, or how long do they take an average from?
Yeah, it's honestly not something I've tracked super well. I think that that system is way too confusing for EA to run it themselves. Like, they mess up so much, I like can't foresee it's working well or going well. I would honestly just use it to my benefit of like trying to list my cards there when it's wrong. Like, that's what I honestly see the main intent is for me. I think that there's just too many factors. The market's like alive, and just again, one small example. In 1 hour yesterday, Gold Bremer, because he links to Turum, went from 30K to 60K. So if that average price said 36K on it, and people look and started listing at 36 when he sells at 60, do you know how pissed off people would be?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing more annoying than relisting your cards and 5 insta selling, and you're like,
yeah, yeah.
You know,
and the thing is that average would still be right. Like, the mathematical equation of it was consistent. It just skyrocketed. Like, and that's the same thing. Like, I've actually messaged EA2 about their banning system. I don't think their banning system's very good. I've kind of talked to them about that. Like, if you sell like silvers at 5K, they got to make sure you don't ban them, because they're with the Evo system, stuff is going to go extinct a lot, or like really, really high for evolutions. So it will look like kind of fakey. Like, might ping in their system. That's what it's done across the years. For bronzes selling at 5K, for silvers at 10K. But they're going to have to really watch that because of all the evolutions they're doing. I've already seen, like 10 silvers go extinct this year. So they have to be really careful with things that they're doing. Like, I would really hate for people to get banned for just selling a card at its going rate. Like, if they make a card go extinct, that's on them.
100%. And people might have spent thousands of pounds on this game, and they've got a few silvers that they had in the club that have gone extinct. They list them up for max, and then they get pinged for that. It's just a bad system. I'm terrified of listing things for max. Absolutely terrified. I never do it just for that reason. You see all over Twitter people saying, "Oh, I've been banned. Maybe it's for this. Maybe it's for that," and you never fully know the reason. But some of those people, it's definitely pinging people in it for, when people have gone all in on certain cards and then started listing them at max, they've been banned for it.
Absolutely, yeah, and They have to change their system. I've kind of mentioned to them they should do like under 10K. They should just take that off. Like if a card jumps to 10, like no one. The reason they're doing it is because they're trying to catch coin transfers, but no one's transferring under 10K like that. So
Yeah, you're not transferring 8K to your friend, are you?
So
Do you know
I've
what I
told
mean?
them, I'm like, just take that off the permissions. Like I'm guessing they set it up as a percentage permission, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's selling at 900% of what it normally goes for, and they're doing it a bunch. Let's flag them, and it's like, no, that's not how they would do that anyways. But yeah, I do have some contacts there now from being in the scene for a long time, so it helps because I can communicate with them a little bit more directly. Or if I know there is like a massive ban wave for a wrong reason, I at least can try to relay the information. So
Yeah, and I think somebody that's beneficial as well. For somebody who's quite balanced like you, Jake, you'll call them out on the bullshit when things aren't right, but you'll also have a lot of positive to say about the game. I think them taking some sort of a little bits of advice from you, I think could be definitely beneficial for them, because there's lots of little things that I just think they miss, and it has a massive impact on certain parts of the community, but it just never gets changed.
I think a lot of it is coming down to like your heart on it, and I know that sounds crazy for a game, but I've grew up playing FIFA. It's a big part of my life. Of course, I get to do it with monetization now, but I played foot and FIFA and UT way before that. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I always want what's best for the game, and that's the truth. And I think that there are people and even big content creators that rant and rage because they know it does views. I believe that to be 100% true. And I believe they have absolutely no intention of the game getting better. And I honestly think if it was really good, they would be confused of what content to make now. Because like their thing is just being angry. Their thing is raging. Their thing is saying this game sucks and boycotting it, and then putting on points the next week or doing a player review 5 minutes after it's out. Like,
I think we saw a lot of that. That was a big way, like you mentioned, Jake, like, getting popular 7 years ago or like that, when it was more of the organic growth and people were doing things because they thought it was interesting, trading was popping off and doing all that. And then a couple years after that, you saw the big wave of, all right, how do you get big? It's not trading tips anymore. It's, negative comments or, like, oh, let's drum up this negative sentiment against EA. And so
and there's a lot of stuff on socials and this kind of like business or work or media, whatever you want to call it, that's really sketchy. I could go on a long rant about that, but like that's up to Twitter too. Like there's like 5 pages right now I see doing like fake giveaways for FIFA points every day with no winner. And they're like they say they're doing like a 12K FIFA point giveaway every day, and I'm like, how is this like even honestly to the point of legal? Like I'm like,
yeah. It's lawless out there, isn't it? It's lawless.
It is.
There,
it was actually crazy that they can do that, because I bet in the future, like what will honestly happen, and I've said this to my wife before, is that they'll actually make you put the money in like a pool and like make it like have a middleman be Twitter itself to give away your prizes, because they would be aware that people are faking like PS5 giveaways and $1,000 giveaways, and it's just not really good for anybody or the platform. But yeah, I think that's what also helped me grow my page, is I always try to respond and be personable, and occasionally I'll show myself, or I've done videos and shown my family, and I back what I say. And I don't think there's many people that are willing to do that and put your face in front of it and say like, this is who I am and this is what I believe. And most of all, like I said, I like foot. I want what's best for it, and I want people when they're on my page to learn about trading, one, but two, what's kind of helped me grow, I think like in 2023, I grew like 60K followers in like 2 months, and it's because the algorithm was a little bit better at the time for Twitter, but I also was just having fun. Like I was posting good memes, and maybe it was last year the World Cup was out, and just trying to make people laugh and engage. And I always want to be a person and a platform where people can say like, hey, I laughed a little bit today, or that was funny, or that was like right now in the community, there's a million news pages. Like I could post the content every day, but that's not who I am, and that's not what I personally care to do. I mean, I could look at the game for that, but I just like to engage with people.
And I think being personable is definitely what makes a difference. Like you don't just post and ghost. Like if somebody comments back to you, you'll reply to those comments. You're giving tips out to people, left and right. And we do need to be a little bit more fun, man. The world's so serious right now. Like, it does need a little bit of positivity, and it's easy to go down that sort of. And we've done it on the podcast, like, just go down that negative sort of rabbit hole, and it does nobody any good, because it sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? You just like,
Yeah. Yep.
And in life, that's not good. Never mind for something we're supposed to be doing, like, just as a bit of fun.
Absolutely.
You know, I've got a random question here for you, Jake.
Okay.
Richard said, I asked Richard, who was one of the traders in our Discord, has you got any questions for Jake? And one that I thought was funny was, what do you put as your occupation on your passport?
Well, I'm smart. I'm smart business wise. I'm the CEO of Jake Foot Inc. and I pay myself out of that. It's really good for taxes. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm a
Yeah.
CEO, but
CEO.
I mean that's technically my title, but I'll pay myself out of that. There's no long
Yeah.
story, but there's some
Yeah.
good tax stuff in there. So I
Yeah.
work for my own company, and it allows me to do some nice stuff tax wise.
Yeah, you love that.
There you go.
Unlike, also, is that like a UK thing? Because we don't necessarily have to put on our passport, like.
No, we don't.
No.
It would be like on a resume or something. I
Right,
guess
That's 'cause
wise
you
for
guys
us.
don't leave the country
Yeah.
mostly. That's probably why.
That is true. Our country's big enough to
It is,
explore it
There's
all.
lots of places you want to go visit in the US without having to leave or go anywhere.
Absolutely. No, that's a funny question. Yep.
Yeah. What's your favourite thing, Jake, about apart from it just being you being able to do something you love for your job? What's been your favourite thing about this journey over the last 10 years or whatever it's been, 7 years?
Oh man, it probably sounds corny, but just like getting to know people, like in terms of Twitter, Discord, like there's long-standing friendships when you're in the scene that long, you know, and especially during the COVID era, and just having that community is just really special. It's a really awesome thing. And there's people that I've talked to that have been in with cancer and they played FIFA and they're in the hospital, you know, and there's people that I've watched go from being young kids to having a family now, literally in my Discord. And it makes me feel old for one thing. But you know, when I started the journey, I didn't have any kids and now I have 3. And yeah, I guess it's just really fun to get to know people and get to be a part of the community. And for me now to be a voice in the community, like to have good connections with different content creators and EA themselves and them asking my opinion on things, like that's something that I never really imagined and had no intention of. Like this was truly very organic for me, like I explained earlier on. And it's just something so fun for me. And for me, one of the biggest blessings is I have 3 little kids. I have 2 daughters and beautiful new son. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah. And I've never missed one day of their life. Like I've got to see them walk. I've got to see them ride their bike because of this career and this journey that you guys have all provided for me. I put them to bed every night. Like it's going to sound a little corny, but I really do love my family and cherishing that.
Corny, buddy.
I know. And cherishing that.
That's corny, no.
And
That's
cherishing that
beautiful.
time with them. And they're like, the oldest is 4, right? I literally got to see her first steps, her first bike ride. And I've not missed, a lot of dads have to work all day, you know, they have to be gone in the office from 8 to 5 and then driving another hour, and they put their kids to bed. And I'm just so thankful that I get to spend so much extra time with them.
As long as your kids aren't taking the first step at content time.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
And I
How cool is that though, Jake, that you've been
Yeah.
able to see all that? Do
yeah,
something
and I don't,
you love, and,
and-
it's like the dream in it, and the fact that you can keep it fun and keep it positive is a real art, because I know from little bits that I've done with trading and stuff, like when you've got to do it for a job or provide something that somebody's paid for, it can soon become not fun and like a job. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And there are times like that. Don't get me wrong, absolutely.
Yeah.
People asking repetitive questions, people getting frustrated when a trade doesn't work. Again, like I say, I think I said this in the one we didn't upload, but like I do not win every trade. I lose millions of coins every year. Let me raise my hand and scream that. Like I am not a perfect trader. There's no such thing, and I'm not I'm definitely far from that. So not every single trade I do works, and sometimes people pick the one bad one out of 10, and that's the truth. And they go into that one and they get really mad. They're like, I'm paying for this service and I'm losing coins. I'm like, hey, please stay level-headed, man. Like, it's been like 1 hour and you lost a little, like 1,000 coins, and I know for a fact you can make 1 million like very soon. But honestly, that's a skill to learn too, and it's a skill to learn in any type of market trading. And honestly, just like life is just like staying level-headed and it's a huge component of trading. Like, if you take a loss and you chase it, and this is the same for like sports betting and stock markets, it's literally universal. If you chase after you have a loss, you're gonna screw yourself big time. Like, if you are not level-headed by your next decision, and that's happened to me, and that growth has happened over years too, is like not chasing the next huge win or huge play. Is just like, hey, this makes a lot of sense based off all these factors. I'll try this one. That one might not work out for a various reason. I'm still going to use that same formula on my next trade. I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to say this should work, and it usually does.
I imagine that's so difficult. If you've just taken a big loss in the Discord with something that you thought were going to be absolutely nailed on, then EA go and drop some content and just absolutely destroy that trade, it must be so... Like you said, especially early on, like just to go after that, like, right, let's find something else to get people's coins back. Like, people are paying for this, but it goes back to that thing again. Like, sometimes the best trades are just step back, have a breath, and we'll go again. But that must be one of the most frustrating parts of your job. Like, people who don't necessarily understand trading wanting something immediately right
instant
now.
gratification.
Yeah.
I've paid whatever I've paid a month to come here. I want to turn this 100k into 500 by tomorrow.
Yep.
Show me what to do. And that's not the reality of trading, is it?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is honestly just the response of it, because a lot of the people that are paying, I think with Twitter, my demographic is honestly probably older, to be honest. Like, I would guess the average age in like in terms of my followers or even like Discord is probably closer to 25 if I were to guess than like the young kids, because I am priced a little bit higher, and I think it's accordingly so. Like, if someone's like 12 years old, the concept would be pretty advanced for them. I won't even lie. Like, I don't know if I would have got that at 12. So, and not only that, they might not be able to afford it. And that's purposeful. Like, it's because I want to teach people that also want to learn. So it's like sometimes when people get very frustrated and they express themselves in a very like unprofessional, or just honestly they don't have to be professional, but just very attacking, aggressive way. That's not cool. Like, that's not how you should talk to someone regardless. So if they're like cussing out or something, that's a different conversation. But stuff like that has happened plenty of times over the years. And luckily, like, it takes a lot to like rustle me. I've been in management in my other careers, and I've managed teams of 29, 30 people. Like, I've done other stuff that it would take a lot to rattle me, but I also sometimes just have to like talk to them and be like, this might not be the place for you. You seem to get really, really angry and frustrated, and that's not what we do here, and that's not going to help you in the long run or help me. So yeah, it's tricky, and I always want to do what's best for them, but I'm getting better. Again, it's an experiencing of over the years saying, guys, today is a chill day. We're not going to force anything. Today we're just chilling. Play some games. Go outside. I don't know. Just touch that green stuff on the ground, and we'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah, a healthy way to look at it. Yeah, and I'll take over while Paul is muted on his after hitting the vape.
Paul, you're muted, but yeah.
I am muted, yeah. That's what happens when you're addicted to nicotine. You can't go through a 58-minute podcast without muting for a vape. But yeah, that's a really cool way to look at, like you said, just to look at life, never mind, trading. And you can see it on Twitter sometimes, like, people will comment, and you're like, whoa, let's just chill. And then, I think it does come with age as well, doesn't it? The older you get, you realise, like, this kid is 16. I was probably the exact same as that.
Yeah.
If I had Twitter at 16,
yep,
you'd
be banned. No, I'm just kidding.
I definitely would, Jake. I'd be cancelled, banned, maybe in prison. Who knows? But
yeah, and for me, it's just about still having fun and getting to do it for work, and I get attacked sometimes. They're like, how could you charge for this? Like, one thing, people asked for it, and I could never give tips on my platform size the way it is right now. That just wouldn't be feasible. But it's also like, hey, because I'm also 31 years old right now, and I cannot work for free all day. I need to monetize this now to be able to do it. And there's absolutely, in my opinion, nothing wrong with that. When you are giving a service, you should get paid for it. Even at my most expensive, it's like $1 a day is what it comes down to. And I'm working well over hours a day right now for $1 a day. So it's pretty fair.
That knowledge
totally.
has a price. Like, you have put the time and effort and energy and, sacrifice at times to do whatever it is to accrue this knowledge. Like, for you to give it away for free would be wild, especially when you can have a community like you've got, charge for it, and have the sort of perfect life, like you say, so you can be at home with your children, you can be a little bit flexible with when you work and that sort of thing. It's
absolutely,
for sure, you should be able to charge for that. And I think now people are a little bit cooler about paying for that, where I think maybe 7 years ago, 6 years ago, it was like, whoa, this is a game, what do you mean you want to charge me for your knowledge?
And then they drop 12K FIFA points next week.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. And I don't mind that. I literally don't mind. And my goal is to teach everybody. Always has. When I did YouTube for a bit, YouTube kind of funneled into like being crazy accelerated and I guess youthful, like with how it's shot now and the graphics on there and the 5-second animations. Like, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'm more informative, and I would need someone to really chop it up and add some fun vibes to it to honestly to have it do well in this culture. So
the algorithms.
yeah, and you just see how it's all edited and with noise effects and background and doing 360s on the screen, and it's because people have the attention of a goldfish.
Yeah,
a little meme
Beast,
popping up
Mr.
after
Beast.
every 4 words that
They
you've
do
said.
though.
Somebody's,
That's how that's the algo, and that is what people do. And it's just that's not. So I will post super long threads with intent to help people on Twitter and talk about it. And I think that knowledge has value, but I always try to do what I can to help. And I still will do that. I'll do some giveaways on Twitter. I'll do threads. I'll talk about the trade after the fact. I just want people to learn, and I don't want that to only be monetized. But again, if they want to accelerate their learning and learn more so live rather than after the fact, that will do it.
Yeah.
No, I think I totally agree. I remember when the Patreons were first coming out, and it's the whole point is you have to do your due diligence of how you're spending your money. But when you look around and talking, and hopefully for the last hour people have been listening to you, that is the mindset of, okay, no, this person isn't just telling me, like you said at the top of the hour, buy this for this price, sell at this price. Like, there's so much more than that, so much more dynamic, and there are places and communities that absolutely, if you have the disposable income, why not spend it to go through? So I don't know if you don't have to defend yourself. I think you just keep acting the way you are, Jake, and that's what we like to see. And that's why we respect you. Yeah.
And I think for those out there who do spend on FIFA points and you're getting a little bit tired at your sort of coin return from that, Jake's Discord is a perfect place to go. There'll be trades in there where you won't have to put loads of time in. You can drop in a few times a week and make some trades, and get your coin total up to coin totals that you'd be like, I've never had this many coins before in my life. And you can buy those cards that you've always dreamed of, and I think those elite cards are going to be expensive this year. So I can. I've not been in Jake's server for years, but I can definitely vouch for it. And Jake's just a good guy, so if you are looking for to make some coins, he comes highly recommended. Jake, thank you. So, any more questions, wise?
I don't have any. Jake, do you have any for us? Well, we've already appreciated your hour plus of time here. So.
Oh yeah, no, you guys were great. I'd love to come on and just chat with you guys too about. I know I got to cover. You guys asked me a lot of questions. I appreciate being the guest. But if you ever want to do it again and just talk about more so like the game and content, or even like the content and how it affects trading, or you need someone to kind of come do that, I'm more than happy to help. Like I said, it's all about, for me, trading becoming accessible to as many people as possible. Because I'm really someone who's personally against FC points, and the reason I'm against FC points is because, of course, I think they're very addictive. And I just don't really align with paying for something without like knowing the value in it. Like, I even, and people will get on me for this too. They're like, how could you promote coins instead of FIFA points? It's against terms of hers. I'm like, well, with coins, if you pay for 1 million coins, there's 1 million coins coming into your account. But if you pay for 12K FIFA points, you might make 100K on it or 1 million coins. And I don't like that. And especially with the untradeable packs, I really, 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 really don't like that, because I mean, I could rant about that for a while, but
well, we'll book you for another podcast to talk about that, because there was a question we wanted to ask you about it, because you could see the writing on the wall about the market going untradeable, but that's another hour's worth of time that will.
I could talk about that for a long time, but basically, like in summary, their intent with untradeable packs is to get your coins in untradables, get a ton of trash in untradables, put those into an icon or hero SBC, get trash again, and then you literally spent $100 without improving one player on your team, and you do it again next week.
And that's the cycle now, isn't it? With these big boy packs, $20 packs, $25 packs. Like, you see it so much. People spend those coins on that, and if they don't pack anything crazy, they're not bothered, because they'll put it into an icon or a hero SBC, get a bird camp from that or some other trash, and then repeat that the week after. But yeah, we've taken up enough of your time, Jake. We've had a good hour there. That's
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming, and we'd love to have you back, talk about the game, talk about some gameplay, bring some positive vibes around here.
I'll always
it'd be
try.
nice to have you on. Yeah. So, Jake, where can people find you? They can find you on Twitter.
Twitter's honestly probably like the main place that I will interact. I do some Instagram stuff still, but I've let that die off over the years, just because, again, it wasn't interaction based, and I try to differ myself from most people, and I think that Twitter and I will say YouTube as well are the best place to do that. But yeah, those are Twitter, and then maybe I'll get back on YouTube at some point, just because I like the more informative stuff, but we'll see how people's attention spans are.
Let's get some Jake streams back. That's what we want.
I know. People like to hang.
How many people ask you, Jake, about your streams?
Jake's doing Drake streams in real life with his kids, man. Let him have time.
Let him have it.
Yeah, people want you to do it all and stuff, but it's like, honestly, it becomes like a time constraint. Like, if I was to stream, do YouTube, trade, do Discord, do social media as well. You really could. I could already sit in my chair for 24 hours a day, and my wife's like, you gotta leave.
Nah, you're grinding the right parts of life.
Yeah, you're doing it right by the sounds of it, Jake. So thank you so much for coming. We've really appreciated that. Lots of little tips there that people can take away and go make coins from. If you want to get into trading serious and learn how to do it properly, go hit up Jake's. Have you got spots in your Discord, Jake? Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we will. Yeah, I'll probably keep them pretty. I keep them pretty open, to be honest. And October, September, October, because people have such varying degree of coins, like it won't really impact the market. Like, no one's rich enough to affect the market that much yet, but then has to start getting really capped, because if you have a bunch of people in with 5-10 million coins, it's just too much buying power. So honestly will decrease throughout the year. But so many people right now are honestly like on 100, 200, 300K coins that they just can't even afford the investments or like mass purchasing of them. So something to be aware of too.
Yeah, getting that first few million is difficult, isn't it? And then, getting that first mil for a lot of people is difficult. But anyway,
it is the hardest.
Look at me, I can't stop talking. I'm going back into it. Right.
You out. Yeah.
Thanks. We'll.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.